are wrong. Ow! Hello, and welcome to Therapists Say. Yet another video where I denigrate my entire profession and drag us through the mud. Anyways, we're talking today about things that therapists have said that give you pause and go, really?
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 So a therapist once said to somebody who was struggling with dating after divorce that dating after divorce should be easy. I think the therapist was like, hey, the old patterns of your relationship are now broken and you get a fresh start. So it's easy peasy lemon squeezy.
Or easier.
Yeah, or I don't know. Honestly, I don't know why someone would say that because it's objectively hard. Isn't it?
No.
You've been divorced. Mm-hmm. Was dating just like, whee?
No. I won't date.
I love that you are not even matching my energy. That is fantastic. So tell me about dating after divorce. What are the specific challenges?
You have all the challenges that just exist in relationships.
Yeah.
Along with, whether or not you have children, whether or not they have children, patterns of behavior from previous relationships. Because we don't see the world as it is. We see the world as we are.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, I see.
We can have a greater level of awareness and recognize, okay, I see the world this way, and that's my perspective, and not project that perspective onto everyone around us.
But we all tend to think that my way is the right way, even if we don't actually have that concrete thought. Like our perception is our reality. And
Is everyone's reality.
And for a lot of people post-divorce, it's, I have to start over again. Mm-hmm. Like I had this whole history. I built a life with somebody that was supposed to be my future. And now I'm back at square one. And not only am I back at square one, but I've got baggage. I've got emotional baggage or I've got literal baggage. So you mentioned that dating after divorce, you have all the challenges of relationships, period, right? So like, just in dating, the insecurities, the mixed signals, trying to see if someone feels about you the way you feel about them, or you don't feel about them, but they definitely feel about you. Mm-hmm. Just a million little things that go into the interplay of trying to find somebody to share your life with. So there's all of that. Mm-hmm. And then what does divorce add on top of it?
Honestly, more people, more relationships, right? Mm-hmm. Like your children, their children, former spouses, your former spouse, potentially their former spouse.
I mean, when you're dating somebody, if you're single and they're single and they've never married and they've never had kids, it's the two of you and then, their family of origin. You never date just the one person. Like it's always a package deal. Mm-hmm. But with divorce, it's just compounded, right? It's just a lot more people who can be up in your business, but also a lot more people who you might be responsible for,
Right. Well, navigating the needs of those other people involved, right? And I always say the kids' needs should be a high priority, right? Mm-hmm. Children deserve safe, secure environments to grow up in, right? And so trying to balance your needs with dating and a potential future relationship with your kids' needs.
Psychologically, a lot of people in the circumstance that I work with in counseling, there's a great deal of insecurity that comes from feeling I failed. That comes from feeling I was rejected, I wasn't good enough, and a desire to prove that I can win, that I am good enough, that I can be accepted. Or I've had somebody for so long and now I'm alone and they want to plug that hole as fast as possible, and it can lead to a type of desperation, a type of emotional desperation where people are acting in ways that they wouldn't normally act because they don't have their bearings, right? Mm-hmm. Their world is spinning. They don't feel strong and planted and confident. And the whole concept of a rebound relationship is people trying to find themselves, right? And doing that through another person, find their stability, have their world stop spinning, and have another person be the one who does that. And the issue with dating after divorce is very often you're dating other people who are divorced and they're in the exact same boat.
Right.
How did you, after your divorce, find or did you never lose your center?
Oh, no, there's definitely a rebuilding. I think anytime you have a large life shift, divorce is obviously a form of that. I always, just in my own mind, ask myself, like, is it, and these are both hard situations, so it's not like one wins, but like, is it harder to have a marriage not work and go through a divorce, or is it harder to have had a happy marriage and lose a spouse? They're both extremely challenging situations. They both left a hole in different ways, and it really doesn't matter which one's
right. It's
easier,
not a competition.
harder. Yeah.
The Olympics of suffering.
Right. You have that, what does my life look like now?
Well, and there's similarities. There's a loss of the future that I had hoped for myself and for my family. There's a loss of what I worked so hard for and gave so much of my time and energy and heart to is now gone. And whether it's divorce or death, that's there. That sense of
Yeah. And I was in the situation where I had a good education. I was always able to financially provide. So that wasn't a concern. There was security and safety and stability in that. And so often there's a financial insecurity that just can be completely overwhelming. So while I didn't deal with that challenge, I remember the first day I had decided to go back to school and get another degree. And I remember, and so I moved to a city 45 minutes away with my son. And that was the first time in my life I had ever lived in an apartment.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with living in an apartment.
But it was new for you.
It was different. And I remember walking into that apartment and realizing like it was just my son and I. And that this was our house. This is where we were living. And sure, I had friends, I had family. Like I had people to call if there was an emergency or I had issues. But it was just him and I, and this was our house. And just the reality of that, hits you.
Yeah.
And so just being in that position in life where you are the perverse person that provides, emotionally, mentally, financially, like that weight. And then you're like, oh, I'm going to try and create hopefully a healthy relationship with someone else.
Yeah.
There's so much going through divorce, and especially if you're a parent, like meeting all those needs and then trying to fill your own bucket and then trying to build a healthy relationship on top of that. Sometimes it feels just like too much.
Yeah, well, and because it's too much, I think you have to pick what you focus on, right?
Yeah.
What I see is a need to mourn. Mm-hmm. Like you need to, instead of jumping into the next thing because to make the pain go away or to cure the loneliness, you actually need to feel the loneliness. You actually need to mourn that life that you wanted that's now gone. And sometimes if a divorce is particularly ugly, it's like, well, good riddance, and I'm glad I'm not with them anymore. And you think, I can move on to the next thing because I'm not attached to this. But what you are attached to here and here is still the life that you had hoped to have.
Well, and so often there's so much disconnection and loneliness before the divorce even happens.
That it's like, I'm free.
Yeah, well, there's that freeness, but it's like you've been alone for so long.
Already.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you've been lonely but not alone for so long, and now you are lonely and alone. And the desire to fill that void can be very strong. And what I would say is look at the potential of filling it with other things.
It doesn't need to be a romantic relationship.
It doesn't need to be a romantic relationship. You do need the connection, because that's being in an unhealthy marriage is incredibly lonely.
Yeah.
Right? But look to fill it with other types of relationships that can give you the connection that you need.
Yeah.
So you're not rushing into the romantic ones to create that potentially creates a cycle that's not actually serving you.
Right, because you're out of the frying pan into the fire. Mm-hmm. And you need for your world to stop moving. What I tell people, just in dating relationships, period, is you have to be okay to be on your own before you can invite somebody else in. Because if you're not okay to be on your own, if you need somebody in your life, the analogy you've maybe heard me use is that if you're afraid of drowning in a sea of loneliness, you're going to grab a hold of whatever slimy piece of driftwood comes floating by.
Right.
And you need to be able to swim on your own. You need to be able to, like you say, other relationships, other connections. Am I pursuing my passions? Do I know who I am? Do I know what I want? And that takes time. And then instead of, I need somebody in my life, hey, you're somebody, come here. And then that person could end up being awful or breaking your heart is, no, I'm happy with who I am. I'm happy with my life, and I want this person to supplement it. You complete me, the line from Jerry Maguire, is super romantic, but it's actually not indicative of a healthy relationship. You supplement me doesn't sound as romantic.
Not as sexy.
You?
Supplement, and it's not as sexy, but it's also a much healthier perspective. I remember when we were dating or newly married, and I felt like I'd won the lottery. I just couldn't believe that you were my wife or my fiance or whatever we were at the time. And I was like double checking to make sure you knew, like, are you sure you want me? Are you sure you choose me? And I said to you, are you sure you prefer me to other men? Do you remember what you said? Mm-hmm. What did you say?
I said that I prefer you to being alone.
Which you might hear that and think, oh, she didn't want to be lonely. No, she was happy to be alone.
I like to be alone.
She
I
didn't-
still like to be alone.
Yes, you do. But you were in a place where you were content with who you were and
Right.
what you were doing with your life and the relationships that you were enjoying. And the risk of bringing somebody into that was what you were choosing. It wasn't, oh, I have all these men and I need a man, so I'm going to choose, Be okay to be on your own is especially true after a divorce. We have a very dear friend who's going through a divorce and was dating and was meeting people and things like that. And then he just kind of realized, actually, I need some time for me. I need some time to find my center. I need some time to get my bearings.
Well, and recognize like it is a form of rebuilding, right? From the life you'd hoped for, or the life you thought you had, to the life you have now. We go through hard life experiences, and we so often have judgment associated with those. So recognize what internal judgments are popping up for you. Because so often when we have an emotion or a feeling or an experience that's triggering, we want to like cover it up. We want to hide it, right? The shame, the guilt, the judgment. And I think that's what we do because we don't know what to do with it. As we bring our insecurities out into the light of day, like they lose their bite. If we can...
We give them power when we avoid them.
Right.
When we fear them, they get bigger than when
Right.
we face them.
It's the adult monsters in our closets, right?
Yeah, well, there's a movie called It where the clown is like a killer clown that feeds off of fear. And he grows really large because everyone's afraid of him. And when people stop being afraid of him, he gets really small and he's very
Right.
easily defeated because they give him their power and then they take it back. And it's the same way with our insecurities. We feed them when we're afraid to face them.
And we all have insecurities. And so often these really challenging life experiences bring up those insecurities. It is an opportunity to heal, or it's an obstacle for our growth. And so if we can be in that place where first we have to stop with the judgment, right? The internal judgment. If we can step out of judgment and into loving, understanding, caring, kind compassion for ourselves. And if you have a hard time doing that, think, if you have children or a best friend, think of your child or your best friend going through the exact circumstances that you're going through right now. And what would you say to them? And how would you treat them? And what kind of understanding would you give them? And that's how I want you to talk to yourself. When you have a triggering experience or judgment comes up, or how could I be so stupid, or nobody's ever going to love me, or why did they leave me? Like, I want you to talk to yourself like you would that person you love in your life, and give yourself that understanding and compassion.
That's awesome. Now, if you've enjoyed this video, we want to direct you to Just See Where It Goes, they said, where a therapist also gave not great advice. We're just undoing damage all over the place up in here.
You're a superhero. Winning.
Thank you. I always wanted to be a superhero. If your life has been upset by a divorce, if it's been shaken up, we've got a free resource, Hope After Divorce, down here in the description. You can click on that link. We are eager to serve and to help you out. As always, like, subscribe, click the bell, and share with your friends. And keep shining, because we need your light. We really do. Oh, look. Here's the video we were telling them about.
The video.
That's what they're going to do right now.
Watch the video.
They're going to get the popcorn and watch the video.